Get it.
So cute.
Oh my gosh. Hey everyone, Cynthia here at the Nameless Homestead, and today we're going to be going over something that we touched on last week, and that is the fact that we have way too much kale. Absolutely way too much kale, to the point where the kids are literally drowning in it. I'll link in a card above and you can see their adorable skit that they did last week in regards to that. Now, when we published the last video, I also asked you guys what recipes you might have for kale that I haven't tried yet. To be frank, I really haven't used kale in anything other than a few soups and as a salad. It's just not something I generally have planted in previous gardens, so this is our first year using it, and boy has it ever been abundant. Now, I think the most common suggestion that you guys made, out of all the ones you guys made, thank you so much for doing that, by the way, is kale chips. So today I'm gonna give that a try because I have this beautiful, amazing Excalibur dehydrator that my mother-in-law so sweetly gifted to me last year, and I am always looking for a good excuse to use it. Now, I've also heard that you can do this sun-dried, like on a baking rack or a baking cooling rack like you would use for cookies and cakes, or in the oven as well. So if you don't have a dehydrator, it's not the end of the world. There are other options. However, the recipe I'm using today is for using a dehydrator. Obviously, the first thing we're gonna need to do is get some kale. So let's head out to the garden real quick and harvest a basketful. Well, hello, sweet girl. Are you collecting some kale for Mama? Awesome. Did you get a good amount so far? Oh, man, we are gonna be literally drowning in kale chips. Oh my goodness. Do you think we're gonna need some more recipes for our kale?
Yeah, but are they gonna be salty like potato chips?
I think so, and I've heard there's lots of seasonings you can put on, like pepper and garlic and onion and all.
Pepper? Who
Oh.
puts pepper on their chips?
I do. Is Hannah the actual sweetest or what? I guess she heard that I was gonna be doing something with the kale, so she just went out there and started picking for us. So I think she wants to be on camera and actually help make the kale chips, so I'm gonna let her. We are following a recipe by the spruceeats.com, and the author is
Leda something, Leda Meredith.
So we're gonna go ahead and use her recipe today, since she has a really simple to follow tutorial on dehydrating and making kale chips, and I will definitely link to that in the description box below. So thank you to the Spruce Eats and Leda Meredith for helping us out with the recipe for today. The first step, according to them, is to separate the large stems of the kale and to rip it up into bite-sized pieces like this.
Ooh, cool.
You want, well, a little bit bigger than bite-sized pieces, they say, because they will shrink down a little bit. This is kind of what I'm doing.
Ew, a bug.
Yeah, that happens. We're gonna wash it. We're going to run it through the salad spinner as soon as we're done ripping it up. So, first steps first, let's go ahead and make some kale pieces. Okay, Muffin. So we want to try to keep out like the big center stem part.
Yep.
So a little bit bigger than bite-sized pieces, and then as soon as so this one's a little bit big, we'd like cut that in like half, I think. Take off any of the raggedy ends or anything that's wilted or anything else like that. We can just feed to the piggies.
Yeah, because piggies will eat anything.
Yes, they will.
Remember
They
that
are
one
always
video about
hungry.
the pig who ate the tarp and was fine?
Yes, that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
All right, let's put this greens in the spinner. Let's see how full it is. Honestly, I think that's pretty good. We want it only like a third full, maybe half, so that there's plenty of room for it to agitate in the spinner. And of course, hand washing is always an option as well, but I mean, I've got a salad spinner, so of course I'm gonna use it. There. That is much better. Okay, Sissy, so the next step that we've got to do is season the kale. Are you ready to get all messy with some olive oil and some salt and some pepper?
Yeah, just like baking potatoes.
Oh, yeah, kind of. Okay, so next step, now that we have it all washed, we're gonna go ahead and smother this in oil, and then we're gonna do salt and pepper in the first batch, and then we'll do just salt in the next batch, since you don't wanna do the pepper, and we'll just do a split batch, okay?
Okay.
All right, so I am gonna pour the oil and the seasonings on, and then you're gonna mix it up, okay?
Okay.
That way we have it controlled. Now in the recipe, as far as measurements go, they say 2 to 3 tablespoons of oil to 1 bunch of kale. Now I don't really know what constitutes a bunch, so we're just gonna kind of eyeball it and do a couple tablespoons per like large handful of kale. And they also said 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt to add over it. So we're probably just gonna try to salt and season to taste. Just scatter a bunch on there, just like we would pretty much any kind of salad. All right, Sissy, I'm gonna pour in the olive oil, a little olive oil over the top. Start mixing your hands in there, and then I'm gonna start adding in some salt and pepper as soon as it's all nice and fully coated in olive oil. Mix it up real good.
Mom, do you want to know what it smells like? Olives.
You know, it is olive oil, so that would make sense.
Aren't finger olives yummy?
All right, let's stop and get some seasonings in there. Okay. Sprinkle a little salt on top.
That's a lot.
That's not a lot. And a little bit of pepper. All right, mix her up, Sissy. I sure hope you don't have any scrapes on your hands.
Yeah, me too. That would hurt.
Okay, now that we've had a messy, fun time getting the kale all seasoned, we've even done a little taste testing. It's pretty great. It's very much an eyeball it with a seasoning sort of thing. One of the things that they suggest in the recipe that I'm using is to use nutritional yeast to give it a nice cheesy flavor. Now, I don't have nutritional yeast right now, but I have a sneaking suspicion we're gonna have many batches of this. We'll definitely have to give that a try. For now, we just opted to use salt, pepper, and oil and keep it simple. Now we're gonna go ahead and load up the dehydrator and get it started. Now, from my understanding, getting it in the dehydrator and getting it started and getting the timing right is the most important part. We want enough kale on the dehydrator trays to be cost efficient with our space, but we don't wanna crowd it and cause it to not dehydrate evenly either. I'm gonna show you how to evenly distribute the kale across the dehydrator tray for the first one, Hannah, and then you can help me with the next, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so this is pretty evenly distributed. I could definitely add more, but we want airflow coming through all of the holes throughout your dehydrator. You don't want them completely covered so that you have a nice even circulation in your dehydrator. And we don't want any crowding or folding over, otherwise they're gonna stick to each other and not dehydrate evenly, especially if they're tacoed and folded over. See what I mean? Mm-hmm. Okay, now I'm gonna load up this one and then I'm gonna have you go ahead and load up the next.
Okay.
Pretty darn good job, Sissy Pants. I think there might be a little bit more room for a few more pieces of kale. Let me help you out with that, okay?
Okay. That salt and pepper and olive oil mixture tastes really good.
I thought you might like it.
That's
All right,
spicy.
that looks good. Okay, let's see if we can hurry this along and time-lapse a little video of these dehydrator trays, or we're gonna be here all day long. Now for this recipe, we do dehydrate in 2 stages. The first stage is gonna be for an hour, and we're gonna set the dehydrator to 145 degrees and let her roll. Stealing the olive oil, salt, and pepper. Busted, you love salt and pepper. Goofball. Let's get our lid on you. Start you at, let's see, where's 145? Right there. Tiny kitchen problems. Plug her in. See you in an hour for the next steps. All right, the kale chips have been in the dehydrator for an hour at 145 degrees. Let's go ahead and open her up and see what they look like before we move on to the next steps. Already kind of starting to go a little bit crispy. Dried out, they've shrunk down quite a bit. Still pretty oily.
A little tackle too. Can I try one?
Yeah, you can try one.
Pretty good.
Yeah, pretty darn good already. So they're not quite finished. They're getting crispy, but they're not fully dried out. The next step is going to be to reduce the temperature down to 115 degrees and then let it dehydrate for another further 3 to 4 hours. So this seems to be kind of similar to bread making, wherein oftentimes the prep work isn't too long of a time frame, but there is quite a bit of waiting in between steps. But that's just fine. Bring that down to 115. All right, it's been a few hours. It's currently 6:30, so the kale chips should be done in perfect time for hanging out, snacking, and watching a show with the silly little muffins. Let's go ahead and open up the dehydrator. Take them out and take a look. You want to do the honors, Sissy?
Yep. They look amazing.
Amazing.
Can I try one?
Yeah.
I love them.
You love them? All right, let's go put them on a plate and we'll see if Connor likes them. You know how picky he can be. All right, let's go ahead and call Connor in here and see if his picky butt will enjoy the kale. Connor, come here. Hey, I got a tasty new treat for you to try.
Kale chips. They're like potato chips, but kale. A little spicier too, so we added some pepper. That's pretty good. Amazing. You gonna see how they react?
I think the doggies want some. You can give some, it's okay. What do you think, buddy?
Oh, he loves
Do you like kale chips too?
Yes, he
I can't believe he's actually eating them. Goofball. Only a little bit, Hannah. I mean, kale's not gonna harm them at all, but they do have kind of a lot of salt. What do you guys think? Are you liking the kale chips, Connor?
Amazing.
Are you liking the kale chips, Hannah?
Yeah.
Should Mama make a whole bunch of more of these to snack on while we watch movies and snuggle?
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. Get it.
So cute.
Oh my gosh. Why do you love kale chips so much, you little weirdo? Well, looks like it's time for me to go pick out a movie with the kids. Thank you guys for all of your amazing suggestions last week that got us to finding a really awesome, simple recipe for such a lovely little snack and a great way to use up that huge amount of kale. Do please keep them coming. Another great one I saw mentioned was a pesto. I'm thinking about trying my hand at that because that sounds pretty interesting. Anyway, if you liked our video, please subscribe to our channel, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit the bell so you can be notified the next time we upload. Say bye!